Hi, Caroline. Good afternoon. How are you today?
I am just great, Piotr. Welcome to Dublin.
Welcome to Warsaw. Nice to see you.
Yeah, good to be here through the technology of Zoom. It's great.
Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, good. Coming off the back of a really busy week and looking forward to a really nice weekend, actually, filled with friends and family, which is kind of nice balance to have at this moment.
Great, sounds great. Look, Caroline, the objective of those interviews is to ask you and my fellow colleagues, coaches from the Ankush School about your key insights from the program. So before we go there, maybe you would like to introduce yourself to our audience and say who you are and where you're coming from.
Yeah, super. Thanks, Piotr. Thanks for having me. Great idea to get us to distill everything into just the one soundbite, which is quite difficult. So my name is Caroline Hughes. I am an executive coach. I've been in business for 3 years, following a very successful corporate career. And I guess what my business kind of is made up at the moment, because it's changed, and we were just saying before we started recording, I now work primarily with teams. Particularly with teams that find they don't work quite as efficiently as they used to, because maybe there are things that are unsaid that are like ghosts in the machinery, that gets in the way of high performance. So I spend a lot of my time working with groups, with teams, and then working individually with leaders, typically within corporate environments, who are looking to bring their performance kind of from good to great, or maybe they're navigating a big transition, they've just got the big job, and they're realizing that it might have looked slightly more glamorous and easy to do kind of from the outside of the door than once the door is closed and they're sitting in the chair. So that's a lot of what I do. And when I'm not doing that, I love to walk and to hike and to do yoga and breath work and take care of my health and my well-being, as well as doing the day job.
Fantastic. Thank you. And you're based in Dublin, so are you working primarily with clients there or elsewhere as well?
Well, I think thanks to a couple of things, I've had an international career kind of to begin with, and then the glory of Zoom and Teams and COVID and people getting used to you not being there in presence. I'm very lucky that I work not just in Ireland, but have clients across actually a lot of parts of Europe. And I have an intention to spread into the US as well. So maybe this might be the start of that too.
Okay, yeah, sounds great. Okay, going back to the main topic of our conversation today, what's your one key insight from the program we did together with Ankush?
Yeah, and I say, look, while there are so many, look, we could be here for a year talking about all that came through. I guess one of the things that I realized very early on was people don't need coaching. It kind of sounds like a funny insight, right?
Given that for a coach and coaching program, yeah.
Right. What people want is they want the transformation that coaching can offer. They want access to insight that maybe can be offered through coaching. And one of the reasons that that's significant to me is that it totally changed the way in which I set up my agreements. Totally. I will talk about coaching the same. My methodology is remarkably similar to what it would have been. But of course, it gets deeper. The more we develop ourselves, the more the coaching gets deeper. But what I realized was it's a bit like, we know what it's like to be coached because we are professional coaches. We have coaches ourselves. In my case, I think I have 4 at this point. But very often our clients haven't been through this type of experience. And so the importance of taking a stand is something that I've really started to live into. And so my coaching agreements used to be, here's how you can pay me. Here's what I'm going to do with your data to keep you safe. And here's, let's talk about, kind of confidentiality, and the kind of the rules of the game, if you like. So very much kind of the terms and conditions. But actually, the more I've kind of lived into this principle of people don't want coaching, they want what coaching offers. What am I offering? I'm offering possibility. I'm offering a taste of what it's like to fully step into true potential. So I have constructed my coaching agreement around that, where the key tenets of the agreement is seeing the very best in yourself, seeing the very best in other people, bringing the topic you'd much rather tear your hair out than discuss, because maybe there isn't anywhere else to discuss it. And fourthly, like always being willing to do the uncomfortable thing, especially when it feels uncomfortable. And I have, the timeliness and the homework and, punctuality and what happens if you don't. All of that is there, absolutely. But what the agreement has become is on those 4 tenets, if this is what my clients are willing to sign up to see their innocence, to see their potential in any situation, particularly the ones where they're feeling maybe hasn't gone quite right or that something has happened for them. This constant coming back to taking the blame out of the situation to see what else is possible, to see what future we could create together is a very, very powerful place to stand. And then in the flip side, I'm very clear about where I stand. And that I stand in that place of possibility because that's where I will coach them from. So if you work with me, or if anyone listening work with me, we get very clear on what is it that you want coaching to help you to achieve, because how coaching works, who knows? That's created in the dialogue between the two of us. We've loads of tools in our toolkit that would help that. So too will any coach. But the chemistry set between 2 people, that's unique to that space and that relationship. So I stand for their creativity. I stand for their greatness and their possibility. And sometimes that means I don't let them off the hook with things. And sometimes it looks like I will ask you to go deeper because maybe there's more. There's more than what might be obvious on the first run. And the agreement up front really, really kind of, it's almost like, people talk about opening up your listening. This just opens up the relationship into, this is a very different type of dialogue and experience to any other that you're in. And in going through the agreement, we take out, we take out kind of the trash, if you like, we take out the hangover of other expectations, met or unmet, or other similarities to other coaching experiences, or indeed not. So I'm going to stop talking there because I've talked for a little bit, but just to give you a flavor of what I would normally do in probably about 45, 50 minutes with a client, give it to you in a bite-sized chunk. That's been a big deal for my practice.
Yeah, thank you. I experienced not being let off the hook myself because we worked for a short while together as well. So I think you are very well known for that, and you really did it great. And so what do you think, what's the impact of that contract, the way you set up the contract, the way you have conversation around the contract? What's the impact on the client, on the transformation? Because you said, I'm not offering coaching, I'm offering the transformation that coaching can offer. So what do you think is the impact of that way of contracting or setting the rules of the game on the transformation?
Yeah, I guess for most people, it helps them to really see the potential of the agreement. And it gives the coachee, who I describe as this is a partnership. This is not really I'm standing somewhere and you've got to figure out how to get to where I'm standing. I'm more likely to take up a fork and help you kind of go through the mess, right? If that's what's needed. But when people see that there is someone else who will hold the space for them to explore without judgment, to fall, to bruise, to, cut their knees and still be okay, it not just opens up possibility, it brings a depth into the relationship, Piotr, which I find nourishing. And through that, it's a deeper exploration of what's truly holding back. What is it like to truly dream and dare to go for whatever it is? The promotion, the conversation that seems so difficult to have, and yet we can find words within that.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes what it also does is, particularly and I work mostly with corporate clients, right? And typically they're voluntold into a coaching relationship, and it's not really their choice. And sometimes it is a surrogacy for a conversation that a manager may or may not want to have or feel equipped to have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in setting out the agreement in this way, what it does is it seals the vault. That the relationship that matters here is the two people who are in it.
Mm-hmm.
That builds the trust that allows for the potential to really be explored and expressed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's powerful.
Yeah.
Because very often, and particularly in senior positions, or you're grappling, with something that's difficult, what do most people say? I feel alone in this.
Yeah. They have no one to go to and speak at that level of depth and comfort and safety.
Yeah. And sometimes people think, I think I need a strategy. Can you tell me how to turn this blue pen black?
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe. Or maybe it's just a blue pen and we need to figure out, why does it matter?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It writes, you can sign documents, it's okay,
Yeah.
And sometimes, Piotr, that clause of seeing the best in others, that can be quite a challenging clause to sign up to, because, very often we want to be right.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing that can mean we want to make someone else wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever version of that there is. And it's really interesting to explore what happens when the other person doesn't have to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a radical responsibility that's required around what's happening in the story that's getting created here.
Mm-hmm.
Between, in your mind, in your heart, as to what's actually versus what's actually happening. So it's really interesting, depending what people are bringing, of course, to the table. That can be quite a triggering statement to go, I can't sign up to that. And here's why. And here's my story of why.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of when I get excited,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can feel it. I can sense it. You're tapping into that energy that I know very well. Beautiful. Yeah. Look, before we started our conversation, you also mentioned that the program had some, significant impact on your business model and how you turned around your business in a way, and how it looks today compared to when we started back in September last year. And I don't know much, so I will be listening to you. I hope as our audience interested and really very keen to find out what's that. That side of the business, or that side of the program had the impact on your business.
Yeah, it's funny. I had just kind of made that almost as a casual remark before we started before we started recording. So I guess when I set up the business at the end of 2020, Piotr, I was kind of doing three things. I was doing a lot of talks about burnout because I had gone through one, and that was kind of a real vehicle kind of to talk about mental health in a positive way, particularly in a corporate environment. I was doing about 80% of my business was consulting. And I was consulting with boards, with senior executive teams to identify kind of talent for the future, identify leaders earlier in their career and help them to develop forward. And I had about 20% or so of my business was coaching individual clients. And that probably was kind of about the same kind of coming into this time last year, where still was predominantly doing corporate consulting work. And actually in my mind, coaching was on the side. It's interesting, right? And I was didn't realize it, but I was creating kind of a side hustle of coaching while saying, oh, I'd like to do more coaching. But kind of the main financial stream of my business was coming through my consulting work. And what happened last year was that just totally got turned on its head. So to the point that I started to go back doing this teamwork. Like this time last year, I wasn't doing it. I only decided in October that I was a global head of leadership. So I did a lot of work with leadership teams kind of through my career. And I just had stopped because I got just kind of worn out by it. And I decided last October to go back doing that because I felt, oh yeah, I can hold space again now for multiple people and watch the patterns of behavior and trust my instinct to say what I'm seeing, and that can actually really bring breakthrough experiences. So the team component of my business, which now is about 60-70% of my revenue, that didn't even exist last October. Wow. And we started the school, I was late. Well, I mean, I was late signing up in that I signed up like mid-August last year. So that was a totally new income stream, albeit on a skill that I had developed, over years. And my consulting arm is now less than 20% of the business. So the remainder is individual and teamwork, which I'm delighted about, because that was really the direction I wanted to go. But I think at some point through the school, my language started to match kind of my mindset, and the side hustle kind of language just disappeared at some point. It wasn't a conscious thing, and I've only really realized it as my year end is August. You kind of reflect on these things as it starts to come up, and I've said to myself, totally changed my model and my business. Totally different. A lot more people coming to me individually than kind of corporates kind of looking to get you in on a block. So that's been fascinating to kind of realize in retrospect. Yes, I set out to do this, but actually, it kind of happened quite easily through what we were learning.
Yeah, beautiful. What comes to mind is that, like at the meta level, you went through that transformation of yourself and of your thinking about the business and how your business looks today. You experienced the transformation that coaching can offer. It wasn't really coaching, but it was a coaching school or coaching career school. And so in a way it was a coaching. We had individual and group sessions as well. And you experienced the transformation in your business yourself. Yeah, certainly. Because when we really look at it, what were we, 21 coaches in a room, so there is an inevitable buoyancy effect, even if there is one person, of course, Ankush, who is, the leader of the school. But I think in truth, we were at every turn, we were learning from each other, because so many people were at different points in their evolution and different offerings and different points of reference because of where they were coming from. It's just been brilliant. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much, Caroline. I think I'm, over time. But I'm sure that conversation will be very interesting to our audience, and who are, I believe, primarily coaches, and I think they will find it really interesting and inspirational. Thank you so much for your time, for being with me today. Good luck going forward. And I know I will see you soon.
Yes. Thank you, Piotr. My pleasure. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.